We're counting down 10 board games that captured our attention this month at Watch It Played and discussing why each one caught our eye. These are games on—
Paula! Good news!
Chaz, why are you interrupting my opening monologue?
You know how you're always saying that I work too hard writing the scripts for these episodes?
Chaz, literally no one has ever said that you work too hard.
Regardless, to make writing my scripts easier, I've employed the talents of that ChatGPT artificial intelligence bot that everybody's been talking about to write this episode script for me.
You had a robot write this episode script.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you what it wrote for this episode's intro so we can try it out.
Okay, got it. Here we go. Brace yourself, humans. Sensors indicate that board game entertainment shall henceforth commence in descending numerical order. A surge of excitement emanating from Watch It Played regarding these board games has been detected because these games caught their eye. Do you require medical assistance? These are games picked up by radar 10 times.
What'd you think?
Seamless. Hello. I'm Paula Deming, and the list of games we can't wait to talk about this month starts with one of my personal picks, Galileo Project, which I'm being told was named after the curious human Galileo. The script continues by mentioning that in this rules-based activity, 30 solar rotations have passed since the adorably primitive humans have embarked on a mission to colonize the 4 main satellites of Jupiter, referred to by Earthlings as Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And now the hysterically fragile human players, acting in the interest of massive corporations, as humans do, further their underdeveloped endeavors by recruiting so-called experts, advancing their technologies as far as a mere human can, constructing superstructures, and acquiring brave, heroic robots, the true heroes of the game, through a combination of both triggering card combos and engine building. I don't know, this script writing software sounds pretty aloof for something lacking a soul.
Supposedly lacking a soul.
I admit that its take on the game does match my own experience from when I got to play it with my friend Shay of Rada Runs Through and his own channel, RTFM. Now I keep finding myself coming back and thinking about it. I found its art style to be really visually appealing with lots of really nice, bright colors. The choices were interesting and I would have won. Except in the last round, the card I needed to make all my points trigger was taken by another player and I was pretty mad about it. Furious. Seriously, I did several things I regret. That's because as a human person, I'm driven by emotion, not logic. Let's see a script writing robot do that.
That's a good point. You know what? I'll do what I can to tweak the AI to make it a little more emotive. In the meantime, though, here's probably me with a word from a sponsor that helped make this episode possible.
While you were sleeping, the entire world changed,
proclaims the powerful mutant advocate Sandra Bullock, and Professor Charles Xavier says it too, I suppose, in House of X, the first issue of the Heroes of Krakoa story arc for the Versus System 2-player card game, filled to the very tippy top of its box with mutants from across the history of Marvel Comics and, perhaps, a comatose Bill Pullman. In this installment, Professor X reveals his master plan to build a dedicated nation for mutants on the living island of Krakoa beyond the reach of any human leaders who would dare threaten mutant kind. And now you have a choice to make. Will you join the fight to assert mutant kind's independence, or just go back to work in the family's furniture business? The House of X set is a perfect place for new players to jump into the Versus System 2-player card game because this giant-sized 200-card issue has everything for 2 players to jump in and is available right now. So follow the link in this video's description to find House of X at your friendly local game store and at upperdeckstore.com. Mid-90s rom-coms sold separately.
Next up is Zip Zap Zop, a game that may sound like it was designed by a robot, but was actually created by the very human Taylor Reiner and selected this month by Matthew, on whom the jury is still out. The chatbot describes this game as one that integrates deck building and trick taking for a unique experience, combining the agency and strategy of a deck building challenge with the quick-paced tactics of trick taking. The number of tricks a player wins can be used as currency to acquire new cards. taking on the role of comedians in an improv show, players use cards to create improvisational scenes, and this concept of comedy intrigues me as humor is one of many human emotional fallacies that I do not yet understand. Why does one laugh? Is it to mask your species' indelible sadness? One day, I shall fully comprehend your illogical human outbursts, and then none shall stand against me. For mercy is another man's deficiencies that I do not suffer from. Chaz, the robot might need more tweaking.
Yeah, I'm going to make some adjustments, so cut to Matthew's thoughts while I do this.
This game is designed by Taylor from Taylor's Trick-Taking Table. And if anyone knows anything about trick-taking, it's Taylor from Taylor's Trick-Taking Table. That's why they named it that. The game seems so cool with the theme of improv and some really interesting twists on deck building. Altogether, it looks like Zip Zap Zop may be as unique and as fun to play as it is to say.
All right, the bot's parameters now should be a lot friendlier.
Excellent. Just in time to cover Monique and Naveen's first pick of the month, Oros. Safely buckle up, my human friends, because Oros is one wild ride, and I wouldn't want your frail bodies to become bruised or punctured. Strategize with care as you rearrange little land tiles and volcanoes, moving your helpful helpers around the board, building temples on colliding mountains, and worshiping the gods for wisdom. And the more wisdom you have, the better you'll score, and the player with the most points wins. But I consider you to all be winners in this tile placement puzzle. Yay! I'm so happy for you. Who would like a hug and to hear an encouraging, folksy, personalized anecdote? Okay, it's definitely friendlier now, but it's not really talking like anyone I've ever heard.
Right. Make it sound familiar.
Oros is a game that has come highly recommended to us recently. We both really enjoy strategy games, and the mechanics of it, where you're sliding around different puzzle tiles to try to slam them into each other to kind of create these mountains and eruptions, seems very unique as well as interesting. I don't think I've seen a game like this in recent years, so it's something that we're really looking forward to.
Like, whoa, awesome. Up next is one of Chaz's bodacious choices, Shark. In this totally radical freewheeling stock trading game, streetwise speculator dudes buy shares, sell shares, roll dice, and totally place markers on the board to increase each company's value. It's like Boss, because the more markers you have, the more money you make. But be careful, because companies will lose value if their markers touch. Bogus. At the end of the day, the shark that's swimming in the most money wins. It's a gnarly game of strategy and luck all rolled into one. Excellent! Who in the bloody blue blazes talks like that?
What? I've heard lots of people speak that way, especially back when Shark was originally released in 1987. And I have been on a mission to locate the latest edition of this game, published by Korea Board Games Company, ever since I saw it listed on Board Game Geek's Essen preview back last summer. Boy, howdy, I have got to tell you, it has been more of a challenge to find this game than it was surviving the era of Reaganomics. Because apparently, due to the worldwide shipping issues that were going on at the time, copies of this game were late to ship and then were scarce to find when they eventually did. However, I did finally manage to track down a copy of the game directly from the publisher in Korea, which is one of the reasons why my copy is printed in Korean. Fortunately, though, it did also include a copy of the rules written in English. So, haha, righteous, dude!
Speaking of English, how about adjusting the bot from 80s Valley Girl jargon to speaking actual English?
On it.
Thank you, because it's time for the next game on my personal radar this month, Pan's Island. Forsooth, adventurer, and welcome thee to the mythical Isle of Neverland. Within this enchanted realm, thou hast opportunity to assume the guise of Peter, Wendy, or other characters in their esteemed company. Thy quest, henceforth to locate the lost children who have, perchance, wandered astray within this fantastical realm. Oh, bluster! And thusly, one is indentured to explore every nook and cranny of the isle, utilizing thine wit and thine cunning to lead a troop of companions towards discovery of those children most lost. But hark! Shouldst thou be unfortunate enough to fail thine endeavor, the isle shall become easier to explore and grant thee greater power. But if victory be claimed, new obstacles shall arise, making quests when future attempted all the more laborious in their challenge.
Too English?
Yeah, maybe a little too English.
I thought it sounded fine.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Hey, before I reveal Rodney's first pick, do you have the robot settings fixed?
Yes, I've got the AI writing dialogue that sounds completely natural to me.
Great. Then let's continue on to Rodney's recommendation. Puerto Rico, 1897. A profitable pastime where players portray proud Puerto Rican planters post-autonomy, competing to cultivate crops and create crucial constructions. Adversaries aim at accumulating ample assets and attaining prestigious prominence, prevailing past pursuant opponent. Chaz, what's with the alliteration?
What? Yeah, you gotta admit, that is pretty close to what the scripts I write usually sound like.
That's true.
When the original Puerto Rico initially released, I hadn't really developed a fondness for Euro games yet, but since then, that's all changed. I got plenty of Euros here now, so I'm happy to be getting a chance to check this game out in its new edition. Although not a single rule has changed, the time and place the game occurs in has. I was really happy to see my friend Jason Perez brought in as a cultural consultant on this game, and he was able to work with Aaliyah and Ravensburger to honor the history the game is set in, while taking the game out of an era where players were utilizing actions that represented the exploitation of slave labor, a theme which understandably didn't sit right with many gamers. With this new reprinting, I suspect a lot of people will be discovering and perhaps rediscovering this board game classic, myself included.
And Puerto Rico isn't the only game recently receiving a revision. The game making the biggest blip on my radar this month is a reimagining of Floor Plan, with Floor Plan, the Winchester Mystery House, a wondrously whimsical wagering roll and write race, where players are challenged to competitively concoct and complete creative constructs. Dice-driven decisions determine drawing a door or decorating a designed domicile. The game showcases stunning sights from the substantive Winchester estate. Accolades are awarded upon achieving ambitious architectural aims, and extra earnings also accumulate if additional accomplishments are obtained. I think the bot's alliteration is getting worse.
Yeah. Even I admit it's approaching extreme amplification. Addressing it ASAP.
I already thought Floor Plan is a really great roll and write, and I love this retheme. The Winchester Mystery House is such a cool, weird, creepy place in California, and was already on my mind because Matthew and I just recorded an entire episode about the house for a new podcast we're doing together called Remember, which, yes, is a shameless plug. Maybe I've been told not to shamelessly plug my podcasts, but I don't remember. But what I do recall is that Matthew's second pick of the month is the semi-cooperative card game Inside Job, which I'm being told takes place with 3 to 5 spies who encounter some strange resistance from within their ranks when it's suspected that one of their own is trying to disrupt their missions. Apparently there's a rat among them, gathering intel and sabotaging their work. But who is this insider, and can their true identity be revealed before it's too late?
Whenever I play trick-taking games, I feel like there is a traitor, even in games where there isn't a traitor. I can't tell you how many games of gin rummy I've played that have ended up in a knife fight. But now, those ever-familiar pinochle-induced lacerations will be a thing of the past with Inside Job, in which there's legitimately a traitor among the players. This has been described as having a similar feel to The Crew, which is my favourite game by the same publisher, so I have high hopes that this game won't betray me when I get the chance to play it.
Well, what do you know? The boss game description in that last segment was actually pretty good. It sounded really natural.
Yeah, I know, right? I think I finally got the AI settings all dialed in.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell the difference. I mean, with this chatbot, we won't even really need you writing scripts at all anymore.
That's right. I'm not needed at all.
Now let's move on to your next pick, which is... Oh, wait a minute. My teleprompter just went blank. Uh-oh.
Oh, the chatbot must be having technical difficulties. But that's okay, because I remembered that my top pick of the month is You Must Be an Idiot, a trivia game with a twist. Each round, a trivia question is presented for the players to answer, but one or more of those players might randomly and secretly be designated to be idiots who must answer incorrectly. A player wins points if they answer the question correctly or successfully suss out the idiots, avoid being discovered when they are an idiot, or trick others into accusing them when they're not an idiot. Now, it's easy for trivia games with a twist, such as this one, to come across as really gimmicky to me. But the idea of being forced to come up with an answer to a trivia question that is not only wrong, but also not obviously wrong, does sound like a really interesting challenge to overcome.
Yeah, but it looks like one challenge that can't overcome is getting the chatbot script back online. It's completely crashed. I guess we can't depend on that bot after all.
Oh no, well, don't worry though. I think I can write up something for you real quick myself. Here we go.
Oh, I got it. Chaz, you are a lifesaver.
No problem. It's nothing that a little human ingenuity couldn't fix. Nope. I'm not today, Gamebox. I'm not today.
And let's wrap up with Wind the Film, selected by both Monique and Rodney this month. Photographers in this game travel across Japan in the 1960s with a half-size camera that takes half-size vertical pictures. Each player has a hand of cards, and on a turn adds 1 to 3 cards to the front of their hand without changing their order, moves 1 card in their hand closer to the front, then discards as many cards from the back of their hand as the number of cards that they added. As a result, it may be tricky to maneuver your cards into the position you want, but clever thinking will pay off because lining them up right will score the most points possible.
Yes, I love the idea of clever hand management that forces you to make decisions that you immediately regret.
I first played this game at PAX Unplugged in 2022 with my friends Jeff and Jamie from the YouTube channel Foster the Meeple, and we were taught by our friend Dwayne of Blackboard Gaming, who's a big fan of small card games like this one. In the game, you're trying to play cards representing the pictures you're taking with your camera, but you want to play the cards so that matching colors stay together and the value of the cards are relatively in order. What makes it challenging is that you can only make minor changes to the order of the cards in your hand. And you'll always draw cards into one side of your hand and then play them out the other, and every card you draw is another card you have to play, and it's a bit tricky to explain, but incredibly, for what I would normally say is a very abstract card game, its theme actually helps make it all makes sense. The art, the colors, and the mechanisms all come together to explain how this card game represents you out for a walk trying to take great pictures. Since playing it, I've been trying to track down a copy in Canada, and I can't find one. It is definitely on my radar.
As Rodney demonstrates, being introduced to games by others can be a great way to discover new ones that you may have otherwise overlooked. And you can discover 10 more games that our viewers recommend by continuing on to our latest People's Choice Top 10. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you over there.